Okay, everybody, welcome back to another week of learning Orot Tuva, the lights of return. We're starting the next chapter, Parak Vav, chapter 6. And we're going to be looking under the hood of what happens in the phenomenon of Tuva, of return. Not simply the external manifestation. A person does Tuva over something, that they correct some fault in their behavior, but what's happening on, like I said, under the hood on a more cosmic level, developing a theme which we had touched on previously. Mimamakim ba hatshuva. From the depths, tshuva comes. That is, that tshuva is some kind of cosmic force, the force of return, the force of moving things towards godliness, is something which exists deep within the universe. Me omek gadol ze she'ein hanefesh hayechidit ha'ishit legabo chativa bifnei atzma, ela hemshech mehagdula ha'havayatit klalit. That this tshuva force, this force that pushes the world towards correction, towards greater godliness, is coming from a great depth, that the soul of the individual is not something independent relative to this larger force. The soul of the individual is actually just a part of the continuum from this greater cosmic force underlying all of existence. Haratzon shel tshuva nogea baratzon olami b'mikoro ha'elyon. That this desire of tshuva, it flows from a ratzon olami, a cosmic desire. That is, you know that nothing exists in the world if there isn't a ratzon olami, a divine desire. This is a very, very fundamental doctrine in Kabbalah, and that is that nothing exists unless Hashem is willing it into existence at every single moment. We've talked about this so much, whether we're learning Tanya, or whether we're learning other forms of, other works of Chassidut, or we're learning Rav Kook, that, and we gave the analogy in the past of an image in the mind of a thinker. If you remember that kind of image we've talked about in the past, when Dr. Koff is imagining a tennis ball in his imagination. So that mental image of the tennis ball, which occupies much of his thought processes, so that image of the tennis ball exists as long as he is conjuring it up into existence, as long as he's thinking about it. If he was distracted by thinking about a tennis racket for a second, that's 2/3 of the other third is Torah. So at the moment that he's not thinking of, if he starts thinking about the tennis racket, not the tennis ball, then the image of the tennis ball will disappear. Obviously, the mental image only exists as long as you're conjuring it up and you're on the canvas of your imagination. That's all existence is that way in God's imagination. All of existence is, as it were, a figment of God's imagination. The reason that we're sitting here, all 300 of us, to learn Torah this morning, so is only because Hashem is saying, Zev, exist. Zev, beard, exist. Right? If a Kadosh Baruch were to get distracted, if Hashem got distracted for a moment, we'd look over to the seat that Zev was sitting on. He wouldn't be there anymore.
At least the beard be gone.
Right? Including the beard. Maybe you leave the beard. Right? Depends what Hashem was thinking at the moment. Right?
Yeah.
So that is called, in Rav Kook's language here, Ratzon Elomi. It's kind of cosmic desire. That the desire, this cosmic force of tshuva, is part of the divine creating force, which is operating at every single moment. B'mikoro ha'elyon, in the most high source of the world. So the very energy which brings all existence into existence every single moment, that very energy is propelling the world, pushing the world towards rectification, towards greater perfection. וכיוון שהזרם הכביר של שטף החיים הריצוניים פונה lehitiv miyad nichalim rabim shotfim b'chol mulo hayesh legalot et hatov ulehitiv lakol. And at the very moment that this mighty flow of this divine desire to cause the world to come into being turns towards goodness, there's all of these mighty rivers that flow into the whole expanse of creation to reveal the good and to cause good to all. Wow, that's a mighty sentence there. Dr. Koff, would you read that sentence in the English translation you have there? Just it's like to hear it the way the translator there translates it real loud.
Which
starts with sentence
number 1?
16:1. The second
Penitence emerges from the depths of being, from such great depths in which the individual stands, not as a separate entity, but rather as a continuation of the vastness of universal existence. The desire for penitence is related to the universal will, to its highest source. Keep going.
Yeah, one more.
From the moment the mighty stream of the universal will for life turns toward the good, many forces within the whole of existence are stirred to disclose the good and bestow to all.
Good. That was nice. Nice, beautiful language. I hope we somehow uncover a little bit what it means. Okay, then Rav Kook goes on. Gido Law Tuva shemivi refuah laolam. That's why the Talmud says that great is tshuva, great is return, that it brings healing to the whole world. Right? Tshuva is not just a personal thing. Tshuva is part of the very underlying, under the hood, right? We're looking into the hood of tshuva. Tshuva is part of the underlying force, creative force in the whole world. And when a person does teshuvah, they're both tapping into that force and accelerating that force, and it brings healing not just to the individual. Our behavior is not a personal issue. This is the big mistake, with all due respect, of Western society, that we're so individualistically oriented, and increasingly so, that everything's okay as long as it doesn't bother somebody else. Right? Everything's a personal decision. Everything is this extreme emphasis on personal autonomy. No one else can tell me what to do. Right? So, but that's not true according to Jewish mysticism. According to Jewish mysticism, there's no such thing as me as an individual disconnected from everything else. And therefore, what I do with my own personal life is my own business and shouldn't affect anybody else. It's not true. As Rav Kook had said in the paragraph that we just read, that the individual is not anything independent. It's not a chativa bifnei atzma, a unit in and of itself. Elahem sheikh me'agdula havayatita khalid. It's just part of the continuation that's just above what we read. It's part of the continuation of that great existence. And so therefore, when we do tshuva, it's not just healing our own personal problems, our own personal faults. It's bringing healing to the entire cosmos, because we're part of the very fabric of everything, of everything. We're part of the fabric of everything. There's no such thing as a personal decision, personal autonomy, my own business. No such thing as my own business. Your own business is everybody's business. I don't mean that in the gossip sense.
No libertarians there,
right? In the gossip sense, right? That's a very good point. You really cannot be, from a spiritual point of view, a libertarian. Like a libertarian, I think, if I understand properly, it's just everybody is kind of their own little universe, and as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else, and don't tell me what to do, freedom or die, or there's some license plate somewhere, or one of the states is, I don't know, one of those states. Okay.
Freedom or die.
Isn't there some kind of whatever? Okay. So right, the Talmud there says that when a person does teshuvah, an individual does teshuvah, so he's forgiven, the entire world is forgiven, right? Because we're part of the very fabric of all of existence. But sinur hagadol, I'm sorry?
Pipe.
That pipe thing, that sinur, that's our word again, we learned last week. But sinur hagadol, that big pipe, that there is this sap of life, the vital juices, like the juices in a tree, the sap in a tree that delivers vital nutrients to the entire tree. So that pipeline that delivers this vital sap from the very source of life, Shotev Sham, it pours forth, mitgalim achdut shel kol hayesh b'mekoro, and the underlying unity of everything is revealed from its source. Right? When we do tshuva and healing is spread throughout the entire cosmos, someone in Paris is impacted by the way that we behave right now. What's the connection? Yeah, that is, everything's connected. We're all part of this very, very, very all interconnected fabric. Uvaruach hachayim hamroachef shel tshuva mitchadesh hakol letova helyona meira mitzuchzachat. And therefore, with this life spirit which hovers, which hovers over all of existence. So then when a person does tshuva, so everything is renewed. Mitchadesh hakol, for the word chadash. Everything is renewed. L'tova yonah, this higher goodness. Me'ira, everything it becomes, can anybody help me with that word? Me'ira, for the word or. What does or mean?
To radiate.
Right, beautiful, radiate, to illuminate. Everything becomes more luminescent. How about that for a word? It becomes more luminescent, and it shines. You know, like we do Pesach cleaning, right? Our whole house shines, right? Or people clean themselves before Shabbat. They walk in to shul on Shabbat, right? Before davening, you got to put on sunglasses. People are so radiant, right? Somehow it reminds me, isn't it my favorite book about the pig? What's the name of that book for children? Wilbur. Oh my God, of course you know. Wilbur the pig, this little girl, the pig, the father wants to kill it on the farm, but she saves it and then it becomes a champion pig. Oh, come on. Anyway, it uses, in the book, it uses Charlotte's Web. That's it, Charlotte's Web, right. Thank you. Someone up here, thank you. So I think they like, they use it, radiant pig. He's a radiant pig. He's a beautiful pig. I'm not sure it's such a good image here. We just had the Parshat Shmini we read on Shabbat about kosher animals. Anyway, the whole world becomes radiant. When we do teshuvah, the whole world becomes brighter, radiant, everywhere in the entire world. You know, it's interesting, you know, everybody, this is so important because we feel the world's falling apart. I have these conversations with people all the time. It's very easy to get depressed. You know, the world's falling apart, right? And people grumble. And I speak to a lot of people, Jews, non-Jews, anybody who has any kind of normal sense, feels like things are falling apart. And it's compounded by the sense of powerlessness. Like, I can't do anything about it. And who am I? And the political process is broken and there's no one to vote for and blah, 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 right? Wrong, absolutely wrong. And here's the thing. So people who somehow feel that, they're going to, okay, I'm gonna fix things. I'm gonna write a blog, right? Or people have these lists of all their friends, 1,000 people, and they write there as if their opinion is important, right? I'm gonna write these blogs, which are basically either regurgitating what some other person said, or sending a link. There's all these people. I mean, maybe even some of you. And actually it's none of you. So of the 300 people in this room, it's none of you. I happen to know for a fact. As if, I'm going to send to 1,000 of my best friends. You're probably on these lists. There are people that every day they're sending out to their 1,000 best friends an article in this newspaper, an article from this commentator, and you just get it. And, I just delete it because I can't take it any longer. It's always bad news. It's always kvetching, as they say. It's always complaining, right? And they're going to correct the world's problems by kvetching, by complaining and decrying how terrible the world is. Guess what? Says Gornish helfen, as we say in Latin. It doesn't help at all. Doesn't help at all. But you know what helps completely? Every single thing that we do during the day in our private lives. Tshuva. That in the day we don't speak lashon hara, don't gossip. that a little bit nicer, the people we work with in our family. Don't make our wives cry. Right? Don't make our children cry. Right? Give tzedakah, give charity. Daven with a little bit more kavanah, pray with a little bit more focus. Put on tefillin. All you women out there, make sure you put on tefillin today. Okay? Light Shabbos candles. All these private activities. That is, without any doubt, creating a more profound revolution in the moral texture of the world, globally, cosmically, than any blog, any political statement, any kvetching sent to 1,000 friends, without any doubt. We are utterly powerful by tshuva, by fixing ourselves, by our own personal piety, is impacting upon the world infinitely greater than our complaining over the digital space and our lofty, arrogant political pronouncements, as if somehow we know what's going on. Shalom. Let's go on. Hatshuva ba mishifat hametziut kula liot yoter tova mezukechet yoter chasina u'mu'ula mimashi. Tshuva comes from the aspiring of all of existence to be better, to be more pure, to be more solid from what it was. Anything we do to improve the world, and I don't mean world in the cosmic sense, social justice, which is good too. But how about social justice in the sense of my own social life? How about that for social justice? You know, we relate to people in the world. We all live social lives, unless you live in a cave. How about social justice in that level, right? That we're fair in our daily discourse with the people we bump into on a daily basis. Okay, you go buy an apple in the grocery store. How do we relate to the checkout person, right? Okay, a little more careful what goes in our mouth and what goes out of our mouth, etc. Betoch chayfetz zeh chavui koach chaim shel hitgabrut al hamidah hamubelet shel havaya ve'al chulshoteha. He says the amazing thing. You know, the world is physical and operates by physical laws. So things are limited. Things are dimensional. So I might think, I can't lift up that car. I can't do anything about my bank account. These are things that the laws of physics dictate are beyond my control. So Rav Kook says it's not true. That this desire in the world towards tshuva, to fix things, that there is within it a life power which is much stronger than any limited aspect and weakness of this world. We can overcome any weakness with the power of tshuva, because the power of tshuva is stronger than the laws of physics. The power of tshuva, that godly power in the world, overcomes any of natural aspects. When things seem so bleak, because I got to face reality. There's no money in the bank, and the car is broken, and the washing machine is not working, and the water boiler is not working.
In my house.
And I'm sunk. I gotta get grounded in reality. Wrong. There's a higher reality. The higher reality is tapping into the divine desire for rectification. And when we do that by improving our own behavior on every level, the way we relate to God, we relate to other people, we relate to ourselves, we're tapping into a higher force than the forces of limitation that exist in that world. That's what Rav Kook means. It says, "Hitkabrut ala midah mugbelet," that it's stronger than the midah mugbelet. Anybody know what the word gvul means? Gvul is a border, right? That we're tapping into a power which is stronger than anything which is bordered, bounded. Anybody know what the word chalash means? Weakness. We are tapping into a force which is stronger than any of the weaknesses that we perceive in the physical world. So we want to make miracles in the world? Not a problem. Tap into this force which is higher than the forces of limitation. That's the divine power of tshuva, of rectification. Tap into it. Tshuva pratit shel adam yachid. Individual tshuva that a person does on their own, but kol v'chomer shel tzibur, and especially if a whole community does tshuva. What would happen if you have a whole community?
Becomes exponential.
All 300 people here in this room, we all say, today, we're going to have a better day. And it's not that we're going to have a better day like I'll just be passive and I hope that my stocks will go up if I had stocks, right? No, stocks metaphorically. No, I'm gonna have a better day because I'm gonna make it better because I'm gonna smile. And I'm gonna be a little more careful about what I eat and how I talk today. And whatever. Okay, all those things. Imagine when a whole community does it. That kind of behavior is drawing its force from this higher life power with a capital L and a capital P, that divine power. And this higher power, it is functioning eternally. You know what it's like? Let's say somebody came out of, I don't know, they never saw electricity before. Came from someplace, never heard of electricity. So they don't realize that there's these plugs in the room. It's like holes in the wall. There's holes in the wall. They don't realize that you could plug into those plugs. And you plug into this world, amazing things can happen. You could run a heater, an air conditioner, a computer, but if a person doesn't realize that all you do is have to plug into it, not stick your fingers in it, right? Yeah, but you put a plug in it. Oh, you could tap into this cosmic energy and the lights go on. This is what's going to happen today, right now. All 300 of us in this room right now, we're going to plug into the divine power grid that exists in the universe because we know how. The power of Torah and mitzvahs. We're going to plug into that grid. And when we plug in that grid, the lights are to go on. And they're not going to just go on in the room where you happen to be now. They're going to go on in the entire universe. That we can do. Everybody has that power. And that's going to send this me'ir, this light which radiates, right? That we talked about before. The world's will become me'ira mitzuchzechet. Radiant and illuminated through those choices that we're going to make. Okay, we did it. We finished the first subsection of chapter 6, and we'll go on tomorrow with the next one. Have a luminescent day, everybody.